Hi everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Still having storage issues with my phone. It sucks. Today is my birthday. I am 43 years old. By the way, I'm coming at you filter free, okay? Don't get too used to it. You know, I love my filters, but I was just like, you know what? I'm feeling cute today, so I'm gonna be filter free. But yeah, I had a wonderful birthday. I hung out with my girlfriend. She took me out to eat and she took me shopping and it was just awesome. Great day, you know. Like I told her in a video that we just did together, if she were a man, I would get pregnant by her, but like, let's see what these 43-year-old eggs can do now. Anyway, no, but real talk, she's like a real one and I love her to pieces and I'm so grateful. She really just like, that's my homie. Yesterday my mom got me Mexican food from a place called Aguirre's. Well, actually no, sorry, correction, Houston area people, is called Cena's Kitchen. It used to be called Aguirre's. Okay, something like that. Anyway, very delicious food. Love them. Awesome. And we had margaritas. Today I also had, was it a margarita? I think. Anyway, I had some drink. It was delicious. And yeah, so I've been drinking, I've been eating. No, I'm not drunk right now, but I've been drinking and eating. And so the scale is not going to be my friend for the next possibly week. But I am going to get right back on track starting tomorrow. So, you know, don't cry for me, Argentina. I got this. What I will tell you is that of all the days this month, and we are on day 14 of October, I have walked over 10,000 steps 12 of these days. Today is the first day where I'm like, you know what? Well, the second day technically, because the first day was when I got sick. I was like really sick, like for a handful of days. And anyway, when I first got sick, I was horrible. I did not make myself do the 10,000 steps on that day. And I am also on my birthday, even though I'm tempted, I'm like, let me see if I can get almost 6,000 steps in so that I can close my ring or whatever, you know, my fitness ring on my Apple device. I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing all that. No, not today. It's my B-day, not today, but tomorrow it will be business as usual, and I'm going to handle up on mine, and I'm going to get this weight off. But yeah, so I'm super proud of that. The lowest I've gotten down to as of late has been 296.3. However, I told you I've been drinking for 2 days and eating a lot, Mexican food, and I had dessert today and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, and I mean, again, it's my birthday and all that stuff. So, you know, it is what it is. But like I said, tomorrow I will be back on track. Okay. I've got some good food in the fridge and I'm going to get some more very soon. So I got this. Anyhow, what else is going on? Trying to remember. What else? Oh yeah. Okay. So my girl, when she came over, we did a video together. It's 35 minutes, but I decided to chop it up. And she's like, girl, why are you chopping it up? And she was reluctant to do it, but she told me go ahead and just post it. And I told her, girl, I'm going to chop it up because I did this very spur of the moment. I wasn't like prepped. You know, I just said, you know what, let's just do a video together, because I've told her she needs to do a video with me. And so I'm like, let's just do a video together. And it was very random. Like, I'm asking her things about work and school, and we're talking about drugs, and we're just cutting up about different things. And so I'm like, yeah, this needs to be chopped up and I post the different segments, you know? So that may take me several days because I'll have to like edit it and everything to do all that, but we'll see. I'm sorry, I feel like there's something in my eye. Anyway, but yeah. It feels so good to like not have lips on my hand. But anyway. Oh, and can I tell you guys, I have a plus and a minus that happened to me today, but I'm looking at it as a more positive than negative. Like I'm not really that insulted. So about my friend, she's in her early 30s and she looks young, and she looks even younger because she had her hair in a little girl's hairstyle. She's already short, and then she had her hair in a little girl's hairstyle, these like little puffs with these braids coming down on each side, right? And it looks really cute on her. But I made fun of her. I said, girl, you look like a runaway who ran off with your boyfriend because you don't want to listen to your parents, namely your mom, your single mom who's working really hard to take care of your ass, and you don't want to listen, and you just want to argue and fuss and fight, and you ran off with your older boyfriend and everything. And she has a sense of humor about this. She used to love the show Teen Mom, and so she thinks it's funny. And so I was just making fun of her. Anyway, but I got confirmation to how young she looked, okay? And I'm going to tell you what happened. Again, like some people might see this as a neutral situation. I personally thought it was funny, especially because she flattered me in the first place. So what happened was, our server, who was an awesome lady, our server, she was showing us the drinks, and she never mentioned alcohol, which usually when you go to a restaurant, they do want to sell you the alcohol. And she didn't even bring up alcohol. And I thought that was kind of funny. And I noticed the margarita, I believe, yeah, it was a margarita because it had the drink, the salt on the rim. So it was a margarita. Anyway, I brought it up and I was like, instead of getting a soft drink, I was like, oh, can I get a margarita? And I had a feeling she was going to do this, but I wasn't sure because, again, I'm 43 years old. I mean, I am, okay? And I'm not delusional where I think I look like a kid. I'm not, believe it or not. Do I think I look 43? I don't think I look 43, but I don't think you know what I mean? I'm not delusional where I think I look like a kid, right? So I just want to get that out of the way before anybody's like, you old bitch, like, or something. Like, don't come for me, okay? But that being said, what happened? Oh, she asked for my ID. And I told her, I'm like, girl, you just made my day. And I said, I'm going to remember this forever. I said, girl, I just turned 43 today. And she was like, no, really? And she still wanted to see my ID after I told her that. And I handed to her. And she was like, you don't look over 40 at all or whatever. I was like, yeah, I just turned 43, whatever, which she could see from my ID, of course. Anyway, she's like, happy birthday and all that. And I was like, oh, thank you, whatever. And then she looks at my friend and she's like, is that your daughter? And I was like, in a normal circumstance, if she hadn't just carded me, then it would have carried more weight of like, oh, don't tip this bitch. No, okay. Because she had literally just carded me, then I didn't take it. You know what I mean? I just thought it was funny, so we were laughing. I'm like, no, they were friends, And she's like, oh, okay, and whatever. But it was just like a funny moment. So, I guess in a weird way, we kind of both got flattered. She got even more flattered than me because someone thought that a woman who is 10, almost 11 years older than her might be her mama. So that's even more flattering. But as it were, it was just a funny situation. So I loved her. So like, if I ever see her again, I'm like, put me in your section. Anyway, but, and it's not okay, I've talked about this before. And again, I want to say 2 disclaimers. For one, I feel like the pandemic took a lot out of me. Plus, I'm a mother, and that'll take a lot out of you, too. I'm just going to be real with you. But especially, I feel like that pandemic took a lot out of me, right? But when I was pregnant with my daughter, who is about to be 7, so this was 7 years ago, I didn't know I was pregnant yet. And I went to a Mexican restaurant in the Houston area. I'm just going to tell you guys the name of it. It's called Ruchi's. And it was the one off of, I forgot that freeway's name. Shoot. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's on the southwest side, okay? But it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's near the freeway and it's in the southwest side, but I forgot the name of the freeway, which sucks. That makes me feel so old. See, look, that age is showing already. But no, real talk. Okay, so, so at the time, I was a 35-year-old woman, okay? So I was 14 years past the age of being able to drink, legally and stuff, and I got a drink. And before I got the drink, the woman insisted on seeing my ID. And I told her, I said, I'm old. And this was, 7 years ago. And I'm like, I'm old. And she's like, okay. And I show her the ID and she's like, oh, you're like, I almost want to say she said, you're right or something. And I was like, oh, hell no. I'm like, no, she did not. Like, I almost want to say, yeah, don't tell me, no, but kind of kidding, because I'm not that mad, because obviously she thought I was younger until she saw my ID and she was like, oh, yeah, you're right, or something fucked up like that. But she wasn't even saying it to be a bitch. It was like, you could tell that it was just slipped out. You know what I mean? Like, but it was just a funny moment. But yeah, in the old days, I used to get carded a lot. Now I almost never get carded. Understandably. I mean, I'm more than 20 years past drinking age, understandably. But I will say that I don't think that people think that I'm in my 40s. That part I'll say, but then again, I'm in my early 40s. I'm in the beginning part of my 40s, so that's not as flattering as it would be if I was, say, 49 or 50 something. You know what I mean? So I do try to keep perspective. I don't, I try not to be like the delusional millennial that thinks I look the same as I did in high school or, whatever. I try not to be that person, like, oh, you think my daughter and I are sisters. My daughter, by the way, is 6. Yeah, you think we're sisters or something. Like, I try not to be the delusional millennial. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. Is that I will be getting back on track as of tomorrow. Or starting tomorrow. I am going to keep you guys updated, including on the post-birthday weight gain once I get the courage to get on the scale, which I cannot promise will be this week. We'll see, but I will let you guys know. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for all the love and kindness. And I just want to leave you guys with this last thing, is that I am so incredibly grateful for the people who have shown my channel love. And even if you just watched it casually, you're never even coming back. You just saw one little video or whatever. You just caught this video and you're like, yeah, you're okay, but I don't like you enough to follow you. All of that support matters. And, recently I thought to myself, in a weird way, it takes courage to get old, and it takes courage to be successful. These things take courage. All I've known, for the most part, is being a young woman. For the most part. I mean, most of my life, at my age, most of my life has been spent being either a child or a young woman. And now I'm moving into being an older woman, and it's scary. But, I'm not going to disappear, but it's scary, And success, a lot of times I have ran from success. Or ran from challenges, ran from growth. And I'm finally in a stage in my life where I'm embracing it with open arms. Well, I love how this is more like open arms. But you know what I mean? I'm embracing challenges and growth and success, and I'm here for it. And it feels like God is, bringing it to me, and I am so super grateful. I want to say this, and this may not reach anybody, but I want to get this off my chest really quickly. I'm just going to say it. So a couple of years ago, I had a business venture that went left, or potential business venture, whatever, it went left with two women that I, at the time, considered to be friends. Um, there has been a lot of hurt feelings, and I'm namely speaking on my end. Things did not work out. And, for a while, there was a lot of bitterness on my end because I felt like I missed out on something. And what was shown to me is that from a business perspective, I did not miss out on anything. Okay. But that's how I saw it. And that was a part of the bitterness for me, because I had wanted to, even when I saw that we were not getting along like we had once gotten along, I had wanted to hold on to things. I wanted it to work out and everything. And, they say, like, when a door closes, a window opens, and that God does not take from you without replacing it with something greater. And that has been the case for me. That being said, as painful as everything was for me, whether people feel I am entitled to my pain or not, that's a whole nother topic. But what I will say is I am super grateful to Terry for having me come on the podcast with her, and for me doing that podcast. That for me showed me what I was capable of, and it helped build my self-esteem in a lot of ways and show me what my talents were and everything. And I just am super, super grateful for that. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I know that we're not friends anymore, and that's fine. But just know that I do still appreciate that we work together and for that opportunity, and like, to the other person who I was cool with, if this gets back to them, I've been hurting very badly over things, over, the things that went left and stuff with us. But I do wish you well. I do. And please know that while I was not a perfect friend to you, and I confessed that to you when I last spoke to you, while I was not a perfect friend to you, I did love you very much at that time, and, I do wish you well in your life. I mean that. So, I'm glad that things are, I'm glad that we all work together, and if you guys find your success, that's wonderful. And I hope to find mine as well. And I want to let go of the bitterness that I've had in my heart for the past couple of years, because it has been very painful for me, and I want to let that go. And I'm sorry, because this video was not supposed to go on like this, but I just want to get that off my chest, as like the final message on my birthday message and everything, because, there was a lot of negativity because, like I said, things did not, like, the friendships ended and the business partnership ended. They continued on, and I wish them well, and I wish myself well as well, obviously. And thank you for everything. Okay, take care, you guys. Bye.